This changes everything for the Dallas Cowboys as 3 different undrafted free agents have shown out at Cowboys Minicamp and are now poised to make the 53-man roster for this upcoming season. We give you the latest Dallas Cowboys Minicamp news right here on Cowboys Digest. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you joining us. If you're new here, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and we're covering the Dallas Cowboys 365 days of the year. Okay, so the topic for today's video is undrafted free agents. Obviously, minicamp fully underway. Our draft picks, they're trying to find their ways into a starting role or a depth role, and then these undrafted free agents are just trying to find a way onto the roster. Well, the Dallas Cowboys have a bunch of news writers on their staff, and they asked all 4 of them what is or who is an undrafted free agent that you could see making the biggest impact for this Dallas Cowboys team, and of course, furthermore, becoming a 53-man roster spot addition on this Dallas Cowboys squad. And the Dallas Cowboys have had a very good history of undrafted free agents, but this year is a little different because they only have 9 undrafted free agents. Here are their names: Treshaun Holden, the wide receiver out of Oregon; Zion Childris, a cornerback out of Kentucky; Elijah Clark, a safety out of Syracuse; Rivaldo Fairweather, a tight end of Auburn; Justin Barron, the linebacker from Syracuse; Josh Kelly, a wide receiver from Texas Tech; Mike Smith, a safety from Eastern Kentucky; Bruce Harmon, a cornerback from Stephen F. Austin; and Tyler Neville, a tight end from Virginia. Those are your Dallas Cowboys undrafted free agents for 2025. 9 is kind of a small number. Usually the Dallas Cowboys have at least double digits, sometimes upwards of 14, 15 area. So kind of interesting. The Dallas Cowboys a little bit less now, but that obviously gives the Cowboys a little less to choose from. And in my mind, it makes them very clear on, okay, we really like these guys, given we only have 9 on this group this season. And so that's where we go into with these writers on who they've seen been making the biggest impact at minicamp and who they believe could make a 53-man roster spot. And so the first report, we go into our first writer. This is Nick Eman, again from DallasCowboys.com. He says this on his pick, saying, quote, "When I was watching the first OTA practice with the rookies, number 55, Justin Barron, stood out the most to me. He looked just as quick and fluid as Sherman James in the drills I saw. Now, nothing against James, but Barron looks like he belongs as well." So that's a good thing for an undrafted free agent. Honestly, Sherman James, if you can kind of keep up with him, you're in a good spot to potentially make a roster. And he continued on kind of talking about Barron in his report, saying, quote, "He has great size and seems like the kind of player that will immediately contribute on special teams and could be a backup linebacker as well. It's a position of need for one, but Barron looks the part too," end quote. And that's really what I liked about Justin Barron. When the Cowboys announced their undrafted free agents, I kind of went through them looking over. Barron stood out to me specifically because he looks the part of a linebacker. And not to say that, you have to look the part to be a linebacker, but for these undrafted free agents, a lot of times these guys don't look the part. I think that's the best and nicest way to put it. They don't look like they are an NFL linebacker. They don't look like an NFL player in some aspects. Justin Barron looks like an NFL player, and what's funny is he was actually not the only writer to talk about Justin Barron. In fact, that was Kyle Euman's pick as well. He has this on Justin Barron, saying, quote, "For the better part of a decade, the Cowboys have found success in the UDFA class. This year seems like the lowest chance of striking yet, based purely on the small number of additions." 9, of course. Now, however, there are a few names I keep coming back to, especially Justin Barron, end quote. And I like Justin Barron a lot. A Syracuse linebacker, his stats in college playing 5 years from 2020 to 2024, it is a very good thing to look at. And the thing that really strikes me as something that could make him, again, when you're in UDFA, special teams is usually your best shot to make the roster. He can attack a rusher. He can ball hawk. He can be kind of an all-in-one linebacker. And for a special teams spot, as kind of what you're going for here first, you kind of need to be that all-in-one guy. Justin Barron is. He had 2 sacks in his past season on his senior year, 1 interception in which he returned 41 yards. He is an athletic beast, including the past 2 seasons having 88 and 89 total tackles, 50 plus of those being solo tackles. And the big thing that I like, back in 2023, he had 8 pass deflections. And when you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and you look at some of their linebacker core that they've had in the previous years, and then even I know, not a comparable person, but Micah Parsons being a linebacker, although a linebacker that is an edge rusher, he gets his hands up. And for the Dallas Cowboys, if you can get somebody who is a good pass deflector, that usually tends to go well with their system. Now, obviously, there is a little bit of change with the head coach being changed from McCarthy. I'm excited to see what Justin Barron can do. And for the final report, again, we have one more thing here on Justin Barron. Kyle Eman's also continuing his report saying, quote, he joins a thin position group, but he has some veteran leadership around him with Kenneth Murray Jr. and a former UDFA Jack Sanborn. Don't be surprised to see Barron make multiple plays throughout the preseason to work his way into playing time, end quote. And I like to put this last specifically on Justin Barron because the name you see there, UDFA Jack Sanborn. The linebacker position has notoriously been one that the Dallas Cowboys go out and look for a UDFA on. Now, a lot of teams do this, but the linebacker position for the Cowboys, they've seen a little bit more success than the league has. So I do like a lot about Justin Barron. He will have to start in that special teams role first. However, if he can make the 53-man roster, or at least the practice squad, I would really be happy just because I think he fits a lot of what the Cowboys like in their linebackers. And again, they've had success at UDFA. He looks the part. He's got great size for a linebacker. I don't have a picture of him, but going back to that last little picture here, see if I can find it. There it is. He looks like a linebacker. And again, played very well at Syracuse, was a captain on the team. I mean, he was a guy that was respected for that team. And again, that's something the Cowboys do, in fact, like. So that is our first UDFA. Let me know if you're following minicamp like I am. Is there somebody in the minicamp world for the UDFAs that you have liked seeing? Let me know down in the comment section. I'm curious to see if y'all have any takes on this. Now, I didn't put the actual designation, but this is Tommy Yarish of Dallas Cowboys having the next player in here. And he says, give me Elijah Clark, the safety from Syracuse. So back-to-back orange players, as you got Syracuse and Syracuse. Now, he is 6'1", 188 pounds. He's a versatile piece that can line up at safety or in the slot in the secondary. And it's that aspect of his game that I think helps him make the roster. Once again, didn't put the designation on there, but that is Tommy Yormish. And again, for this one, I really like what Elijah Clark brings for a couple different reasons. And I want to go back to the quote specifically because 6'1", 188 as a safety is a great height and weight. That's kind of what I would like to be at. And the second thing that he speaks to, which again, I mentioned with Justin Barron, when you are a UDFA, you kind of need to be an all-in-one type player. He can be a safety or he can be in the slot in the secondary, which allows him to really push himself to the roster because he can play in that multiple position type range. Now, for Elijah Clark, there's a couple of things I want to talk about with him. Played his first season at Rutgers back in 2021 and has improved every single year. His junior year was his best year at Syracuse, 64 total tackles, 36 of those being solo. But I do like that he got an interception in his senior year. Obviously, return at negative yards, don't really care. Plus, again, 4 pass deflections, which as a safety, when you're going out there, that's a stat that I like to see you really, really work in, really drive in. So Elijah Clark, to me, again, I think is a very potential here to make the spot. And then we continue on here with Tommy Yarish, DallasCowboys.com, having this quote on Clark saying, quote, granted, it was in OTAs, and the 2 starting safeties were injured, but Clark was still out there taking reps with the first team defense in the media viewings of practice, which is certainly a good sign, end quote. Now, I'm going to leave it on here for a second just because really take this in. Yes, the 2 starting safeties were injured, but that does not mean that the Cowboys don't have depth at safety, and they put Clark in the starting role. To me, that makes me look at Elijah Clark a little differently. Also, something to note that he didn't have the report on, or I saw it somewhere. Elijah Clark is actually the highest paid UDFA as well. So when you're the highest paid UDFA, a lot of times that kind of shows you how the organization thinks about you and what they potentially could see in you in the future. Because if they're going to pay you the most bucks out of the UDFAs, they're hoping to probably keep you around. That would be their hope, obviously. So that is a big thing. Okay, so the 2 we've gone. Both Syracuse players, Justin Barron and Elijah Clark. Now, our final guy is a guy from Kentucky, and Kurt Daniels has the report on him. Kurt Daniels, this was his pick for his UDFA that could make the starting 53-man roster, saying, quote, there is one area where Dallas has real question marks. It's at cornerback. This could open the door for someone like Zion Childris, who has experience playing throughout the secondary. In addition, he was considered a strong leader in college ranks at Kentucky, and scouting reports say he is a solid tackler. Now, obviously being a solid tackler, that helps you get the job for that special teams part. But again, he can play throughout the secondary. Being able to play multiple roles, especially in a cornerback room in which the Cowboys are injured right now. Obviously, Trevon Diggs, there's a potential he's not going to start the season with the Dallas Cowboys. He could be on the injured, have an injury designation of some sort. Trevon Revel Jr., there's a potential that he could have an injury designation to start the season as well. So Childris has a clear path to making this 53-man roster. Now, does he keep it when Trevon Diggs or Trevon Revel Jr.? That's a question that I'm not really ready to answer, to be honest. But I do want to go and look at his stats as well. He also played 5 years in college, 2 of those at Texas State. So, hey, he's got some experience in the Lone Star State. Also was a leader at Kentucky, in which his past 2 seasons, 55 tackles, 58 tackles, 1 sack this past year, 1 sack the previous year, 1 sack back when he was at 2022 for the University of Kentucky. 2 passes deflected. I mean, this guy was all over the field. He had 2 forced fumbles and an interception in his last year at Texas State that got him to an SEC caliber school in the University of Kentucky. So again, Childris to me is a guy that can be really moldable, and obviously you don't know how many UDFAs the Cowboys keep. Most of the time it's 1 to 2, maybe 3, maybe. And a lot of times it ends up on the practice squad. A lot of those things, though, they end up in terms of where they'll position is a special teams role. Childris has the best chance to end up in that special teams role. However, Elijah Clark and Justin Barron, I do actually think they have a shot to play in the special teams, of course, but be a depth piece in the linebacker and safety room. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening with all these UDFAs. Once again, we'll go to that list and kind of let you look at it here, but they have a lot of good talent. Obviously, a couple of different tight ends in this group as well, and 2 wide receivers. Josh Kelly, I actually like from Texas Tech. I don't think he's going to make the roster there just because this wide receiver room is stacked this year. I mean, Mingo and Pickens and CD is all I need to say right there, not to mention so many other names that I could go on and on about, but either way, UDFAs are a very important part for the Dallas Cowboys. They have been in the past, and I believe they will continue to be this year. Let me know, is there one of these 3 that you like? Is there somebody else that I didn't mention of those 9 UDFAs that you've been seeing if you've been following Dallas Cowboys Minicamp? Let me know down in the comment section. But for now, we appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. And again, we are going to be covering the Dallas Cowboys pretty much all the way through the season, 365 days. I mean, no matter what happens, we got you covered on your latest Dallas Cowboys news. And if you made it to the end of the video, it makes me think you kind of like the content. So if you would do me a favor, go down there and hit that subscribe button. Again, 100% free. I would really appreciate that. Okay, we will see you next time here on Cowboys Digest. Peace out, guys.